Hi, Eileen. How are you today?
I'm well, Vanessa. Thank you for asking.
Of course. Well, I thought I would get you on here just to talk a little bit about this fantastic organization you're taking on, opening up, continuing the mission, and a little bit more about the mission. Yeah, open it up so that people who have any questions or any interest, we can kind of clear some of that up for them. How's that sound?
Sounds so great. Thank you for having this idea, Vanessa, and thank you for being on board.
Of course. So tell us about you.
What would you like to know? It's one of my favorite subjects. Let's go.
Tell us a little bit about your work history and like what history kind of led you to this idea of taking on creating Access co-leaders from the start.
Awesome. Well, thank you for asking. I grew up in the military. My dad is a proud retired Navy sailor. My mom was in aerospace engineering, so it's a good combination. My parents immigrated to the United States from the Philippines. My mom was a Fulbright, my dad obviously through the Navy. So I've always wanted to be in the military. So I spent almost 16 years on active duty in the Air Force as a personnel officer, which I share with people is basically HR for the Air Force. It was about the 14, 15-year point, I felt a nudge in my spirit that I had a call to vocational ministry, which at the time I was like, I don't even know what that means. I just really enjoyed serving at my church. And so my last assignment was at the Pentagon. Let all the people, my mentors and people that I worked with, that this was what I was going to do. Did not have a job with the church yet. So broke a lot of hearts, concerned some people, but I ended up leaving active duty. I served as a reservist for a little bit, then got picked up on church staff. I continued to serve, of course. I was basically doing a lot of the things I was doing in the Air Force, right? So it was like cool to know that nothing was wasted, like my education and experience of taking care of people, basically.
Yeah, it seems
But
like all service job, everything of service to other people.
yeah, exactly. And transferring those same skills for the church, right? I wasn't deploying people like I was in the Air Force. I was really just allowing people to come to our church, and if they liked it, great. And if they, it wasn't for them, then helping them find the next step. 10 years later, after serving almost 10 years after serving on a church staff, I realized it was time for me to focus on my first ministry, which was my family. My daughter was starting school, and I decided, all right, need to focus at home. I was also working on my doctorate. Said I just need to stay steady and work also on my health. And so started working for another nonprofit, and the rest is history. I realized, it's time to do this. Create access, elevate students, and connect leaders.
Okay.
Not just a tagline.
Staying of service to others, and now that focal point will be students, and that's high school students?
High school students and young adults. Really just I call it the next generation. Right. So high school students are going to either apply for colleges and get their degrees and start their jobs, or those in high school that are like, hey, I just don't know yet what I want to do, or I want to go to trade school, or I want to, take a gap year, or just want to get working. And then honestly, my favorite are the young adults, those that are like already in their jobs or looking for jobs, and they just need a little bit of a nudge, a little bit of help opening those doors to get them into those opportunities.
Well, I'm sure we can all relate to that feeling. Sure we still even feel it sometimes today, those questions of what we want to be doing, who we want to be serving, how we want to be elevating ourselves. So tell us, what's one like important thing you're bringing from your time in service with the military, and then what's one thing you're bringing from your service in ministry to ACL?
Awesome. Honestly, the first word I have is mission. It's never about me. It's always about the mission, right? In the Air Force, you're given, I mean, obviously it's the military, you're given a mission and you stay focused on that. And my heart, my passion are the people. People are the ones that succeed in the mission. And the same thing at the church. Now it's different, right? It wasn't the military, and we definitely were a Bible believing church, but just making sure that, again, what I shared with people was within what I believe in the Bible. And again, giving them the access to understanding that and then connecting them with people who can help explain the different things. So I think that's what I really learned with the church. Also, that you can start anywhere. Right. Like there are some people who grew up in the church and that just became their career. For me, I grew up in a different faith. And then so entering the non-denominational church, I was a little bit confused, but also knew that I had solid foundation and can jump off from there.
Okay, cool. Well, let's talk a little bit more about ACL. So what What is Access Co-Leaders? What are you guys gonna be doing? What's the mission?
So the mission is what I just shared as far as creating access for young people, elevating students, right? Whether the students are in high school, I know that we have some really sharp middle schoolers, some eighth graders that, shout out to, and then young adults. So creating access, elevating the students, and then connecting leaders, right? So I think when I look at the experience with Access Co-Leader workshops or our sessions, it's really number one, the mission. That's the students, the next generation, the young people who are logging on to receive this information, to understand what does it even mean that you're creating access for me or opening doors or creating these opportunities. But also on the other side are the guests, right? These people who have time, treasure, and talent and just want to be able to provide that. And so with Access Co-Leaders, we exist to be able to keep that organized and have an opportunity for people to say, yeah, sure, I have an hour in the middle of the week to spend with some young people and share with them my pathway, my journey. How did I get here? Or, share about where they grew up and how they pivot in throughout their careers to be where they are today.
Okay, and so just for all of our listeners, so Access Co, we will be doing weekly sessions or monthly sessions with different schools, so high schoolers, young adults, and or even middle schoolers will come on, and we will have a guest who is a professional or CEO, and they will do a career conversation. Is that correct?
That's absolutely right. What I like to say is that they are workplace or community leaders, right? Time, treasure, and talent. If you have the time that you want to volunteer and be able to speak with young people and make an impact on their lives, yes, is the answer. Your talent is always appreciated and valued. And then your treasure, right? So I've heard it said, no money, no mission, right? We're here because of the generosity of the people who are supporting our mission.
Okay, so let's just answer this real quick and boil it down for everybody just in one word. So access what, elevate how, connect to who.
We access opportunities and conversations. We elevate young people and we connect young people and leaders throughout workplaces, throughout the community.
Amazing. And so you've done some of these sessions before. What are some of the takeaways you see in the students and young adults?
Oh man, I have done plenty of these kinds of conversations. What we have not mentioned yet is that this is all virtual so far. That we've been meeting on the screen, right? But doing these things, I am a lot older than I look, as I like to say, but I've been having these conversations in real life. So being able to have this on the screen allows for even greater access, right? You could be a student in Pennsylvania connecting with somebody in Texas or California. Just all of that matters.
So I think you've spoken a lot about this quite a bit, but just in one quick sentence, what's the big why behind Access Co? What are you hoping? What's a problem you're hoping to contribute to or solve?
So talent is everywhere. I believe that everybody has a gift, natural abilities, and talent, but access is not everywhere, right? So being able to help make those connections for young people to know, hey, there are people out there willing to open the door for you to walk right through, and seeing them light up and know that they matter, their voice matters, that there's value to what they bring to the table and their voice. That's why we exist.
And there you just answered my previous question. It just flowed out naturally. What are the students taking away from these conversations?
What are they taking away from these conversations? I think ultimately knowledge, right? Like I always use the for the young ones, right? The 8th graders through high school, they don't always know that there's more to a hospital than doctors and nurses, right? That's the most basic example. You can be working in IT, logistics, human resources, marketing, you can be an attorney working for a hospital, all of those things. And I love sharing that information. But also when a student lights up because they did not realize that their gifts, their natural abilities can be applied to all these different these different industries, workplaces, ways that they can make an impact, and seeing them light up to know that like they're valued, whether they're creative or that they just think more in like the STEM side, like tech and all of that. It's fun that they get to know that there's so many opportunities out there for them.
Okay. So yeah, you're kind of hinting, you're just guiding me right along with my question. So why does this matter to you or what makes you uniquely qualified to be starting this organization or providing this to students and young adults?
What makes me uniquely qualified? I think that I have had significant amount of time working with people, be it in ministry recently in nonprofit and also my career in the military, I love speaking about being a veteran and how that allowed me the access, right, to the education, the higher education that I have, and then just the people that I've met. So many people in the military are able to do everything, right? All the different jobs, and then once they get out or once they've done their time, they're out in the world doing the thing. So I think that makes me uniquely qualified in that respect. And then having spent time in ministry, that really taught me, I don't want to say to soften up a little bit, but in the military, very structured. But right, the time I spent in the military allowed me to tap into a place of being empathetic, having being able to operate with more grace, being able to, and it was during the pandemic. So spending time with people on the screen and still understanding you can connect in real life. And there's a science of being able to connect authentically and genuinely on the screen. And that I've learned that through my time in ministry. And then just having the exposure with nonprofits and understanding the business side of what makes a nonprofit work has helped me gain the confidence to be able to launch Access Co-Leaders.
Okay, so one of your unique talents is connecting people and making them feel comfortable. That empathy is kind of always guiding you. Am I hearing that all correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. I talk to somebody, I immediately or listen to somebody, I immediately try to find the story in them. Um, and it's like a little hamster in my brain, like, oh yeah, that person that they would probably connect well with them, or they would get along, or they're somehow related. It's just something that I didn't realize matters and is a gift. And learning that through the years has been fun. And I feel like this is a culmination of it. I think back when I was in the military, I was the one that would send out the email saying, hey, like, let's meet here for lunch. And just thought like I was just the gatherer. Like, yeah, we all just like to have fun and it's 70 degrees outside. Why aren't we going out to eat? And then working for the church, I was actually the connections pastor. It was my job to make sure. I always say, "Oh, I'm like Julie Cruz director of the church, like making sure people feel welcomed and they also know where to go." And then being able to do that as, to create an organization to take, combine all of that and help people position well, right? Like in the military, we would say having the right faces in the right spaces. I think leading from a place where you elevate people's again natural gifts, abilities, what they're really great at will make any organization successful.
Okay. So we're really trying to help these students and young adults find a career path, knowing that everybody has a story, everybody has a talent, everybody has a natural gift that maybe they haven't tapped into or maybe they aren't highlighting. And so maybe we can create more access opportunity for them to highlight those a little bit better, brighter. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. Especially in partnership with people like you who can help facilitate those conversations and ask the right questions, right? Like, we talk about having a script, right? It's facilitated for a reason. We're not going to like have a 5-hour workshop, at least at this point, but knowing that I can trust you and that we've had this experience to say, hey, we had this 1 hour session. How do we make this conversation? How do we know the students enough to understand the information that they should be receiving, as well as making it a great experience for the volunteer, these community leaders, leaders in the workplace, what matters to them to make sure that their time was valued and honored and not just like, what's happening here? Like that, going back to your previous question, I want the volunteers to, once they log on, that they have this great experience. And when they're done, that they just kind of want to sit there and say, oh, that was good. Like everything that I've done matters and somebody heard me. And that can plant a seed in them and inspire a student to be just like them or, in their own path, but everything matters, like nothing is wasted in their path.
So you've
That's
seen
right.
it to be inspirational for both the teacher involved, the students involved, and the guests volunteering their time to come on and mentor the students.
1000%. Yes. And I do want to emphasize with the teachers, with the schools and that we're working with, there's always an adult present in these sessions. And for me, it's like a gift from me to you, to the school. Like I want you as a teacher, the instructor, the faculty member to log on and also receive and like for them to like light up and know that this is a resource for their school, their program, their organization, that their students are having a great time, a good experience, engaging with a professional, a community leader, workplace leader, what have you, and that this is a lift, that this becomes not a burden on their day, but something that they also look forward to.
So cool. I love it. And I'm excited to see more of them and how it goes and how those connections with between the student and the community leader can progress or go from those initial conversations. All right. So tell us, where do you see ACL Access Co going? What's the goal there?
I think the goal is to continue to sounds I was gonna say go wide, go deep, but honestly, like, right now, we are considered nationwide. We do have schools outside, in different states, which is exciting, but every young person needs something like this, whether it's Access Co-leaders or whatever conversation that these young people are having. We just happen to be a nonprofit now and facilitating in an organized way this conversation and making it fun and engaging, and it's all online. So going wide and then going deep, meaning that we continue to foster and steward these relationships, right? So these students in the ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, whatever, that they are in their clubs or they're with this teacher and they're part of this conversation, but they'll come back, that retention and being able to tell us these stories. And same with with our volunteers, that they don't just, show up for this one conversation. I personally have had guests ask to come back and have had, conversations where they're asking about a student who had a very specific question. And that is what I mean by deeper. Like, I want the students and the guests and, the faculty or whatever to wonder more about where these people are. My vision for Access Co-leaders is to go wide, to go deep with the program.
Beautiful. And for the students, all in service of them and
Absolutely.
their career longevity.
That's right.
So did you have something like this for yourself growing up, or were there people that you looked up to? And that's kind of the goal too, is having more people that these students can look up to, right?
Right. So as far as like an organized program, I don't think I had anything like this. And we hear this all the time. Like, gosh, I wish I had a program like this when I was in high school or when I was graduating from college or when I was a young adult. No, I don't think we had anything super organized. Were these conversations happening by accident? Absolutely. And that's what again, what why Access Co exists, to be intentional about creating these opportunities to have these conversations, not just by accident.
I love it. I love it. I'm so excited to see where this all goes. And yeah, we'll be keeping up with the students and see what can come from them and, just their growth path, even on public speaking and other different skills that they may not be naturally as comfortable with, but will be really useful to them throughout their careers.
Right. I just spoke with another instructor who his group of students are business minded. They're very young, but they have these ideas, and so they're working on their business plans and how they're presenting that. In another school, it's their mock trial team. So any opportunity for them to practice speaking in public, for sure, they're going to take it. We also have schools that have students that just have the potential. But not the opportunities. So having these teachers like hand pick these students to say, hey, they might be a little shy, but there's so much in them. I love being able to like log on and see them. And that student knows when I come on, I'm going to know their name and I'll remember something about our conversation. All of those interactions, that level of engagement matters. And I know will take that student years from now to say, man, that really mattered. They knew who I was.
That care, that somebody sees them and cares about them and their future.
That's right. That's right.
All right. So, one more question. So, tell our teachers why and how they can get involved, and any community leaders or professionals how and why they should get involved.
The volunteers? Absolutely. Yep. Connect at accesscoleaders.com. Send an email, go to our website, easily, just send us a note and we will take care of you. Mostly going to be Vanessa like responding to your messages, face behind the message. As far as why volunteers should get involved, because your story matters. If you ever have one of those days, you're like, why am I here? Or did I make the right decision, to make this career pivot? I obviously can speak from personal experience, but I just, moved to the heartbeat of like it all matters, nothing is wasted, right? All that time in the military, all that education and experience, all that time working at the church, and now this experience I've had with the nonprofits, all of that matters. And I know my story might be unique in my world, but there's so many other workplace community leaders who have the same kinds of stories. Like, man, I was in law school and now I work at a high school. All of that matters. So I just love that we have an opportunity for you to tell your story that will plant seeds and make an impact on the next generation.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you sharing all that today, Eileen. Again, people can go visit accesscoleaders.org to get more information and volunteer to help. You will leave feeling good, making connections, and spreading your story to inspire our next generation. So, thank
Yeah.
you.